really a great contributor to this project because not only did he
have the lights turned on so they can see me?
Yes. Jack is also a very talented individual who will be the MC for the Chinese Historical Society's dinner in 2 weeks. So hopefully you'll want to come back and see him again. Anyway, Jack, I'd like to have you share your experience in working with some of the people you wrote about.
Great, thank you. Thank you very, very much, and thank you all for coming. It's a very sobering day when you consider the Exclusion Act. It's a perfect day to see where we've been and to really move forward because we have come a long way. And, you know, I grew up shortly after the dinosaurs roamed the earth. And it was like 1940 when I was born in Mesa, Arizona. My father had sponsored 3 paper sons. So I grew up with a lot of fear. And it was like constantly, okay, now this is really your brother. His name is Ken, but he is your brother. He's just come from China. So you've just got to tell everyone that this is your brother. Well, after a few years, we had 3 more brothers who came over from China. And we were living in fear, you know, because if they find out the truth, Mommy and Daddy are going to be deported to China, back to China, to the village. And you won't see us. And I said, but, you know, I'm like 5 years old. What am I going to do? You know, you're going to be right here in Mesa, Arizona without your parents. So you've got to remember all these stories. So growing up in fear, my brothers and sisters and I, we escaped a lot. We really wanted to be Americans. You know, we went to school and we did the Pledge of Allegiance. We wanted the flag up front and center. We were Americans. And I'm just so emotional hearing about your being a paper son. And there's actually nothing wrong with being, you know, like a Wong or an Ong. You know, I mean, I'm a real Ong, and it doesn't mean that I'm more proud of it or anything like that. It's just that the proliferation of the paper sons made necessary for our people to survive in this country because of the Chinese Exclusion Act. These are movies. Your story is a movie. Judy Chu's movies. That's what I think of, because all I did was escape the realities of life as a foreigner, of someone perceived as a foreigner in Mesa, Arizona. And I escaped to the Mesa Theater or the Nile Theater or the Ritz Theater to see movies. And it only cost 14 cents. And I know that the first time I saw a movie, it really impacted me because here was this thing attacking Abbott and Costello, you know. And I mean, it was Frankenstein. And I just looked up there and I couldn't believe the impact that this image on this huge screen, and I started to scream. And my brother turned around and said, what in the world's the matter with you? I said, yeah. It's a movie. It's not real, Jack. It's a movie. Now stop it or I'm not going to bring you to any shows anymore. Movie? Yeah, I was so impacted. And I went home and I dreamt that Frankenstein was coming after me. And I loved what that did. I said, I want to do that. So whoever thought, though, that I would ever realize my dream to become an actor, because as most of us know, back in the 40s and 50s, even up to the 60s, who were my role models on the silver screen? Let's see, there was Katharine Hepburn playing Chinese. Charlie Chan was a Swedish-American actor. Even in Breakfast at Tiffany's, Mickey Rooney, Japanese, and Ricardo Montalban in Sayonara, he played Japanese. Those were our role models. And Katharine Hepburn, as wonderful as an actress as she was never a very pretty or convincing Chinese person. Those cheekbones just didn't work for Kate. So that was how I grew up with my dream of being an actor. So who ever thought that eventually I would graduate from ASU and come out to Los Angeles and actually have someone at a party come up to me and say, you know, someone, your friend over there, your roommate said, you want to be an actor, is that true? Because I thought you were in advertising. I said, yeah, I'm a writer, I'm in advertising, but I would love to be an actor. He says, I'm making a movie in Canada, and I need an Asian. I said, I'm Asian. And I got my first movie. Then I got my agent. I mean, it was a real blessing. God was favoring me, it seemed like. I suddenly, at the height of my advertising career, actually became an actor. And, you know, I never really quit my day job or anything like that. But I got to be an actor, and now I have a Screen Actors Guild pension. Of course, the Screen Actors Guild no longer exists. We are now SAG and AFTRA. You know, it's one big union. And which means I have to pay higher dues and, you know, retirement stuff. Anyway, but growing up in the late 50s then, finally, to go to the Paramount Theater because we knew there was a movie going to be coming on that afternoon, and it was called The World of Susie Wong. And it starred somebody who really could play Chinese simply because, well, Nancy Kwan is Chinese. Eurasian, but Chinese. Just like so many people, I fell in love with Nancy Kwan. That grand entrance she had, jumping on to the Star Ferry. I've done that about 50 times myself. Every time I go to Hong Kong, I put on a trench coat and I dash onto the, you know, I'm not as pretty, I understand. But it's just, that was the impact she had on me. I'll bet many of you have actually done that, huh? Gone to the Star Ferry and put on a trench coat, and I know you have. But I do it every single time. It's just something. So who would have ever thought that eventually, actually very quickly after I made my first movie, I found myself in the presence of Miss Nancy Kwan, and we have been really good friends since. Gone to dance classes with her. It just, she and I are very close friends. Who would have ever guessed that? You see, so for a kid growing up feeling all this bigotry and prejudice in Mesa, Arizona, dreams can come true and wonderful things can happen. And Nancy Kwan is a wonderful, wonderful person, a really talented actress, and it was my pleasure to be given the assignment to interview her and write one of the portraits of pride about Nancy. And I wish she could be with us today. She's charming. She was with us at the Torrance Library when we presented this volume, and when we also had a premiere of a wonderful documentary. Can you lift that up? The DVD of Nancy's Kashan's journey. And are we making that available?
Yes.
This is a wonderful, wonderful story about Nancy Kwan's life. And so highly recommended viewing. I also got to do an essay on the celebrated James Wong Howe, one of Hollywood's definitely one of the stellar cinematographers in Hollywood. And I had to research a lot about James, but we always knew about him in the movie industry. I knew him as the person who, when he photographed Picnic, he actually made Kim Novak look like she could act. I really thought that was really great. And you know, even on his very sick bed, almost very near death, Barbara Streisand just did not like the cinematography, the way they were lighting her for her movie, Funny Lady. And she insisted that whatever you can do, please give me the opportunity to work with James Wong Howe. He photographed Barbara Streisand in a way that she felt she never looked better, and I don't think she did. Mr. Wong Howe, his name was really James Wong. But because of the prejudice and the bigotry in the industry, he put Howe onto his name just so that it wouldn't sound so foreign. Little facts like that we were able to find out from his relatives, and I had the privilege, I just felt I had to, as a writer, to research. I sat and I viewed every single movie he ever photographed. And from the Thin Man series all the way to Funny Lady, Picnic, HUD, Hombre, Seconds for John Frankenheimer, a black and white movie where Mr. Howe was actually on roller skates, going through, hand-holding a camera in what became Rock Hudson's probably finest performance. So these are just two of the fascinating essays we have in Portraits of Pride. And I highly recommend this book because it is a coffee table book that is, to me, stunning. It's printed so beautifully. The graphic, everything about it. I've just read it through. I am so pleased that my byline is on just two of the fascinating essays. And we do have these books available today. And I think it's highly recommended reading. Also, we just got word that it is now being placed in the Princeton Library, and it has been used as a just kind of one of the ways for Princeton University to really try to get more than just an Asian American Studies class. They want a whole program. So we're moving along, and this book is helping. So any copies you buy are really helpful to the Chinese American community, and it shouldn't just be in a Chinese home. It needs to be in every American home. Thank you. Bye.